Hey there, how are you? I hope you're well, and I hope my stomach doesn't talk too much in this video. But I hope you had a good week. But if you didn't, just know that everything will be okay. Um, so I know most of you pretty much noticed I didn't make a video this week or last week because I took about a week off. And the reason why I took this week off was to process a lot of things. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is that one, I just kind of want to provide a space to connect with my audience. I just want to connect with you guys. If you prefer more of the Reiki stuff, I have a whole bunch of other videos on this channel that you can check out. But I want to make videos like this to have that moment of connection with my audience, so that way it's not just me doing Reiki videos for like three and a half, for like 45 minutes. I want to have like a message from my videos. I want to have a purpose to this channel. And so, long story short, I took a week off. And the reason why I took a week off is because there's been a lot of things in my life that I've been needing to address that I didn't want to address. And this week, I was able to really hone in on those things that affected me that I didn't even realize were affecting me or still affecting me. And I know this can happen to a lot of people, like people like just generally. This could happen to you guys as well, where you'll deal with some stuff and you'll just put it off aside, and then like months, maybe years later, it starts coming up. You're like, where is this coming from? And so, for the past year, actually, not this isn't like just happened this week. For the past year, I've been dealing with a lot of like negative headspaces, just anger, a lot of like misplaced rage and feelings of envy. And I just didn't know where that was coming from, because I'm like, that's not who I am. I'm not that person. Like I'm usually in my own headspace. I don't care about like what anybody else is doing over there, or like that's not my concern. Like I just care about what I'm doing. That's just my thing. Like I'm more focused on what I'm doing rather than what the next person is doing. But I got in such a negative headspace last year, and it was coming from um, many things that I did not address years prior, and it all kind of like formed into this gigantic cluster of like problems and just negativity that I had been holding on for a while. And so last week, I was starting to see myself kind of slip back into that headspace of like, what am I doing this for? Do I still like doing what I do? Like, why am I doing this? I'm not seeing the movement that I want, all that blah, blah, blah stuff. Um, and so I'm like, you know what? I need to take a week to figure out where this is coming from so that I can address it. And that way, if I can address it, it can get the energy moving again. Because I think the main reason why a lot of this stuff for me has slowed down is because of my headspace, of my energy space, and just kind of where I've been. And the reason why I'm in that energy space is because I never really dealt with a lot of stuff. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is that I know a lot of us go through similar situations where things happen in our lives and we don't address it, and it ends up affecting us years later, and or months later, or however many later it takes to actually start to take effect. And sometimes what happens is that if we choose not to address a lot of things, it all piles up into this one big cluster of issues that we just realize that if we don't deal with it, it's going to make us sick. And so I was kind of in that headspace last week where I was just like, I need to figure out where all this negativity is coming from, because I don't want that to be, when people look at my channel, I don't want people to feel that way about me or whatever. And so I felt that my videos, and I've been feeling for a while that my videos are pretty monotonous. And when I say monotonous, it's just like kind of like business as usual. Like I'll come on here, I'll say hello. I'll let you know what I'm doing, the whole purpose of what this video is about, and then I'll do the Reiki. Sometimes I'll keep my mouth closed. Sometimes I'll talk about certain things, but for the most part, I'll do whatever I have to do for about 30 to 45, 50 minutes. And then I just kind of, post it, see where it goes. It is what it is. And last week, I just got so tired of the process. Especially I got so tired of the process because I was doing it it was just like a every other day, back to the routine, back to routine. And the reason why I was doing that is because, one, I had already promised like sponsors that I would have these videos out, so I couldn't back out on the decision. Like, I already made that decision. Like, I'm gonna make these videos this day. I'm gonna release the promo on this day, so I can't just not make videos. People are like, why don't you just take a break? It's like, well, I already made some promises. I can't just take a break right now. But last week I didn't have any obligations, so I said, let me just sit here and figure out how to unpack all this stuff, so that way when I go back to making videos, it's not like me trying to basically, it's not me doing business as usual. There's actually a reason to watch this channel, because the reason why I continue to do Reiki videos is because, like I said, you guys come here for those videos, those Reiki videos and stuff like that. But I'm not just into Reiki. I'm not just into like the whole occult stuff. I'm into other things, and sometimes I'm ashamed I'm into certain things. Well, not ashamed, but sometimes I don't really, you know, I'm not really big into certain things that I used to be in, and I kind of feel bad that I'm not into those things anymore. So like about like what was it, a month or so ago, I created a video game channel, and I made a couple videos, but then I just didn't like after the first series, after that first Resident Evil series, I just didn't feel excited to do the videos anymore. I'm like, well, where is this coming from? Like, come on, like I can't be this, I can't be like this. And even the pick a card channel, I kind of just like dropped because I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. And and for ASMR, and a lot of y'all don't know this. I haven't watched an ASMR video I haven't like went to sleep to an ASMR video. When I say in almost a year. You're like, it's crazy. You do ASMR, aren't you? I haven't watched another ASMR artist in over a year because, and I'm just being completely honest with you, I kind of got sick of it. Like, I just kind of got sick of doing it, hearing it, talking about it, this, that, and the third. Because it was just like monotony. But that was more of an inward problem rather than an external problem. And that inward problem was starting to affect my work. And it was starting to affect me as a person. And so, if you come away with anything from this video, the one thing I want to put out there, because this is something, I'm learning, but I think a lot of us need to learn to do this too. Even if it's scary, even if it's something you just do not want to look at, we have to address our issues. We have to address the things that trigger us. We have to address the things that bother us. Because if we don't, it'll manifest in other ways, and then we'll be in a even worse headspace than we intended to be in the first place. And if you had a bad week this week, if you had something that happened to you this week, whether it be a tragedy, if not this week, a couple weeks ago, months ago, years ago, because I was dealing with stuff that was like years ago. If you had something bad happen to you, understand that things will get better. Things will be okay. But you have to allow yourself that space to address it, to really digest what happened and diagnose where that problem is coming from and how it's triggering you, so that way you can release it and just go about your life. Because I have a hard problem letting things go. I have a hard problem letting things go because in my life I've always felt that people look at me as someone they can just get over, or they look at me as an easy target, if that makes any sense. And it got to me in a place where it's just like, well, people just kind of see me as just like this, like, piece of crap that they can just use whenever they want to. I'm like why am I here? Like what's the point of this whole thing? Like what am I doing? And so that turned into resentment, anger, and just it just really made things negative. You top that with, I'd never really fully processed the death of my sister, much less my mother, which happened in 2014. Like that's almost a decade ago, and I never really processed that. And like 5 years later, then my sister passes away, and then I'm just like, okay, how am I supposed to deal with that? Then I had a whole bunch of like just life circumstances hitting me at once where I'm just like, I gotta do this, I have to move this, I have to go do this, I have to deal with the person upstairs because he just loves banging on the freaking floor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And all that just turned into a big old ball of rage. A big old ball of rage that I took out on people that didn't deserve it. I distanced myself from people. And I became a legit, when I say a legit hermit, I became a legit hermit. Like I didn't leave the house unless it was just to get food. I didn't hang out with people. I didn't talk to people. And I remember saying this a couple months ago, whenever I recluse like that, it's usually because I have a lot of negativity that I'm dealing with, and I don't like bringing that to people's lives. But also, another reason why I do that is that, like, I'm not really in that headspace to deal with people. And you could be, especially if you're going, like, if you're going through a good period in your life and I'm dealing with all this stuff, like, be honest, I'm human. A lot of envy will start coming up. And is that fair? No, it's not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to bring that to you while I'm in that space. So I tend to distance myself so that way I don't give that to somebody. But what I didn't realize is that that absence that I did also was kind of like a it's a passive way of being it's a passive aggressiveness, I guess. And there's a lot of people that I kind of distanced myself away from that I didn't intend on doing. I was just in such a weird space, anger, just fed up, tired, and YouTube doing its thing, and it just got to a point where I was just like, man, why am I making these videos? Why am I still doing this? Whatever. And so for like a whole year, from 2021 even to like right now, I would have periods where I was just like, do I even like making videos anymore? Do I even like this whole platform anymore? Do I even want to do this anymore? And I even made a video about a couple months ago. Not a couple months, like a week or so. A month or so ago. Where basically I talked to you guys about the engagement, because YouTube is weird. Like, what really upset me about it, and like, again, I'm human, guys. Like, I'm never gonna come here and say I'm perfect, because I'm not. Like, there are things about me that, some things I know, like, it's just, I'm not proud of, but like, it's a shadow part of me. It's just kind of one of those things that you just gonna have to deal with. But I just realized that a lot of that anger and stuff, it wasn't coming from because I genuinely felt this way from about people. It was just I never really unpacked. I never really sat there and unpacked, my mother's death, my sister's death, my cousin's death, just life circumstances, things that happened prior to before I even started this channel. Then, things happening with the pandemic and family, and it was just a whole cluster of crap that I just did not want to address, and it was affecting me energetically to where it wasn't just you guys not really watching the videos, but it was my friends. Like, my friends would distance themselves from me. I would distance myself from them too, but they would distance themselves from me as well. And so, like I said, I was a hermit for about a year. Like, I didn't hang out with anybody. I stayed to myself. I just watched movies and other leisure activities until I went to sleep. And so, what was it? November? October? My stomach might start talking. I decided to enroll in a class. And the reason why I enrolled in this, it was an acting class. Hey, stomach. I decided to enroll in an acting class, and I met one of my good friends, Josh, from that acting class, and we've been good buddies ever since, so that's cool. Um, but at that time, I was just like, I need to make new friends. I need to get back into society because I can't just be angry and depressed all the time because that's not gonna fix my problem. It's just gonna make it worse. So I met my friend Josh about October, November, and then I met um, my other friend Christian in December. And I have other friends that I was still friends with, but like I met these two individuals last year, and they've been kind of my like inner circle these last couple of months, and they've been great. They've been awesome, good friends, and I couldn't ask for more. Um, but I started to see myself distance myself away from them too, and it wasn't because I had anything against them or they were doing anything wrong, but my biggest problem in this world, and it will always be my biggest problem, is that I will look at every single one of what, like, I will look at other people at what they're doing, and if they're doing better than me, I will compare myself, especially if my circumstances aren't favorable and I'm getting my butt whipped by life, so to speak. I will compare myself to these people, and I'll be like, well, why are they getting this and I'm dealing with this? Why do they get to deal with this and I get to deal with this? Why do they have to? Why do they get like the easy street? Even though like just speak Tyler, you know that you don't really know what's going on in their lives. You just assume, right? But the brain is a fun thing. Um, and so I would get into these spaces of just envy and rage and anger, and I just needed to know where that was coming from because I was just like, that's not me as a person. I'm not that person. Like I don't feel this way towards people for just I choose to. And like I said, I realized I didn't address a lot of stuff. I didn't address just the unfortunate situations that happened, to me, whatever. And so 2 weeks ago, I got in a hit and run, meaning I went in the store, some person hit my car, scratched it up real bad, and long story short, the repairs, all that came out of pocket. And I was furious. When I say furious, I was just it's just like one thing after the other, and I was just like, what? Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm already trying to do this, that, and the third. Like, why am I getting hit with the bad luck, and like I can't get ahead. Like, what the hell? And so I start to slip back into that negative headspace again, where I was a couple months ago, almost a year ago. And so I told myself, I was like, let me just stop. Um, Let me just stop and not get there because if I do, it's gonna affect not only me, it's gonna affect my viewers, it's going to affect my friends, and my family is pretty much saying like, Tyler, where are you? Like you don't come around this much. Well, yeah. Um, and so what ends up happening is that I just decided to take a week and sort of exercise myself. If that makes any sense. Um, and so when I mean by that, like take a good salt bath, like a obviously to kind of cleanse my energy. Do some candle rituals for cleansing and just kind of untie those knots of just crap that I just chose not to address at the time they came up. And like I said, I realized this week that I had never really fully processed the death of my loved ones. I never really fully processed all the just rapid changes that happened within the last 2 3 years. And I was just fed up because like I honestly I just wasn't in a headspace to deal with any of that stuff. Like I just really wasn't. I was just trying to get in a place where I was secure. And I was just happy with where I was. Like my main goal is just to get in a point in my life where I'm happy to be in the position I'm in. I'm happy to be where I am. And I was just like it was like damn if I do, damn if I don't. If I took one step forward, I took about 15 steps back, and it was just it with the whole accident. I'm just like, come on, man, like really. And so I wanted to stop myself from getting there, so that way when I come back and do another video, it's from pure intentions of like, I love you guys, I love you, I love what I do, and I want to let you know that what I do is not because, I'm trying to get validation for it. It's just that, like, I know a lot of you people deal with the same crap too, and you know, sometimes go on YouTube and try to find people to kind of like talk about it, to kind of like help you kind of process it too. And I want to be that influencer where it's just that, like, I want to help you guys kind of like see it from a different perspective. But in order for me to do that, I have to see that perspective, right? And so there's a lot of people that I distance myself from, and if they are watching the video, which, and if they're not, I get it. But if they are watching this video, just know I'm very sorry. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I wasn't trying to I wasn't going to bring that to you. I wasn't going to bring that me to you. And so I just stayed away. And so that's just kind of how I function. If I really care about you, I'm not going to bring you crap. I'm going to deal with it first. Even if I don't care about you, I'm not bringing you crap. But if I really care about you, I don't want you to see me in that light. Like, I don't want people to see me in a negative light. Like, that's like, I don't want people to view me in a light of like, this dude has bad intentions. And it's like when I made that video about a month or so ago about like the engagement. Someone's just like, well, you made a video one time talking about how like people shouldn't cross you, and I'm like, you know what? I did do that, didn't I? And that's not cool. It's not. I shouldn't have made a video in that headspace because that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair to you, and it wasn't fair to myself to put that light about myself anyway. Because the purpose of that video was just like, I guess what I wanted to say is just that, like, just be careful how you treat people, because you don't know how the universe is going to treat you in return if you put that energy out there. Don't scheme behind someone's back to hurt them. And I guess that's the message I wanted to get, but I was in such an emotional state because I think it had to do with family, and it was just like, come on, man, like, give me a break. But what I didn't realize is that people, you're not coming to hear that. You guys aren't coming to hear me in that state. You guys are trying to come here to heal and to process and to get whatever you're dealing with, out, so that way you can function. And so me giving you more crap to deal with is just like, why? And so I'm just trying to check the time because I know eventually the camera cuts off after a certain amount of minutes. So I'm going to have to switch it out. But yeah, I just wanted to process these things first before I came back on this platform and made another video. So that's why I took a week off. And what this video, after talking for almost like 30 minutes, what the purpose of the video is to let you guys know that it's okay to be in a bad space sometimes, but even if you don't want to do it, you have to address your stuff. Because what you don't realize is that it will bleed into other things. It will not intentionally bleed into other people's lives, and it doesn't help your cause. It only makes things worse. So, yeah. So, yeah. I didn't want to come back on this channel, on this platform, and give you guys a whole bunch of negativity that you did not deserve. So I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna be making making some videos this week. But I'm still gonna do Reiki videos, but I need to do other things on this channel that makes me want to do these videos. Because what happens with me is that, like, I don't mind settling in a routine, but if things get I'm a Sagittarius, guys. Like, we get bored easily. It's just kind of part of our nature, life. And it's also just kind of entertainment. Like entertainment in general is like, you give people the same stuff every episode, they're gonna stop watching this show. Trust me. When I was a kid, my mom used to watch her soaps, and there was this one soap opera called Passions. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched a soap opera. This is like early 2000s. It lasted to like, I don't know how long that show lasted, but there was The thing about that show is that they would take a narrative and they would run that narrative for like months on end. For an example, there was I remember the characters' names too. There was Luis, there was Gwen, and there was Beth. If you've watched this show, you're like, I know who you're talking about. Um, Luis loved Gwen. Luis and Gwen had a child, and Beth was in love with, not, was it Luis or was it, yeah, Luis. Ethan was Teresa's like obsession. So Luis was in love with Gwen. Beth loved Luis, but Luis had a child with Gwen. And so what happens is their child Marty gets stolen from them by Beth, but Beth poses the child to be her child. And for like a good 6 7 months, it's just a wild goose chase for like, where is Marty? Marty's not dead. Marty's still alive. Marty's not dead. I know he's not dead. And then they finally figure out that Beth has Marty, and then it's just like another like 4 months of them chasing her and everything like that. I remember like they made an event of it. Like Entertainment was like, you know, they're gonna have a final resolution to the Marty saga on Passions, and it eventually came, but I stopped watching it because it was just kind of, they were more trying to kind of like hook you into the next episode. I'm just like, listen, if you're not gonna make this conclusion, if you're not gonna get to the conclusion of this episode like this month, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not taking this ride anymore. Like, I don't need to do this monotonous ride with the show anymore. It's just getting on my nerves. And they end up addressing it. She gets Marty back, but I never saw the episode because I quit the show. I was just like, this is just, I got breadcrumb for like 8 months straight, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it anymore. And so now, mind you, like I was kind of like, I would go to school, so I wouldn't watch this show all the time. But like in the summer, we would watch it with my mom. And then like if I got sick during the weekdays, I would catch it. Like if I wasn't at school, I would catch it on like I think it was on NBC or NBC. And so I just got annoyed. I was like, I don't want to keep watching the same breadcrumby crap all over again. And so as an artist and just as a person that creates content, video content, the last thing I want to do is kind of have that sort of monotonous breadcrumb sort of effect, because like I know like my patience is very short. That's not a very good trait to have, but I'm working on it. That's one of my biggest lessons in this life is my patience. And I know that you guys kind of want to see other things. It's like people are like, well, why don't you do role plays? Why don't you do this, do that? And sometimes I just get discouraged. Like, I'm like, why am I doing, like, what can I do to kind of integrate this with that? What can I do to do that with this and all that stuff? And like, if I do this, I won't get this receptivity that did that. And all that stuff goes in your head and you just don't do anything. And so I sat with myself this week and I said, you know what? I'm going to make videos, even if it's not Reiki videos. This is me just sitting here and talking to you guys. If I don't feel like doing a Reiki video, I'll just make a video like this where I just talk to you guys for like an hour or so, and you can tune me out and pass out. That's fine. I'm cool with that. If you want to listen, that's great. But this is fun for me because like it allows me to kind of show you guys another side of myself. And I said I was going to do this a couple months ago, but I got discouraged about it, and I didn't want to do it anymore. But yeah, I felt that I was kind of going in this monotonous circle when it came to my work, and I'm like, and even if you guys won't say it outright, and you, because my subscribers, you guys are the sweetest people on the planet. And when I've learned after doing that video on engagement, is I was, for the longest period of time, I thought that I was doing something wrong, and that's why I wasn't getting the engagement that I wanted to. But what I realize is that most of you guys are introverts like me. So like sometimes you don't like to say stuff because you're just like, well, what do I need to say that's important? Like I don't need to talk. And it is what it is. Like it's just kind of part of the process. And so it was never a personal thing. We're introverts. If we don't see a reason to speak, we just don't say it. We don't see a reason to comment, we don't comment. You'll see a reason to like, we don't like. And so it really put me in a perspective of just like, man, I need to stop assuming the worst of things. And it's like I said, we've all been through a lot of stuff, but like this last couple of years, it's just that like when you deal with tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, you just like you expect the worst, and that's not a good way to live. It's not a good way to live. Um, and so I sat with myself this week. Hey, stomach. I sat with myself this week to kind of process that, so that way when I make another video, it comes from a pure intention of that I love doing this. Other than that, I'm obligated to do this. And so after that huge tangent, if you're dealing with something, let's say it's like a death of the family, if you're dealing with like a breakup, someone mistreated you, did you wrong, whatever the case may be, know that everything's going to be okay. Know that it's nothing to do with you. Know that it's not a reflection on you. Know that no matter what you would have said or done, it wouldn't have changed the situation one iota. And just understand that you can go in your head about this situation over and over again. It's not going to fix it, and it's only going to make you sick, depressed, and and that's going to bleed into your life. Don't allow that to happen. Just and it's easier said than done. Like me to just say, just let it go. It's like, well, why do I have to let this go? Like this isn't like it keeps happening. And I'm like that. Like I have a problem with letting things go, because especially when people hit me on a personal level, I get really, really, really like angry. And it's because like growing up, I've always felt like people saw me as an easy target. Mind you, this is all in my head, by the way. It's just not, there's no like physical proof. People do stupid things to other people all the time. But for me in my head, I always felt that people saw me as an easy target because I'm a very nice person. I'm not someone who's going to push conflict. And so when you have that everybody's against me mentality, it makes you angry. It makes you seclude yourself. And it doesn't help anything. It just makes you very depressed, sick, and you end up basically pushing people away that you didn't really intend to do so. So again, for those of you, because I know some people I've connected, there may be ASM artists that are watching this channel this video right now that I've connected with, and I kind of just stopped talking to. It had nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong. Even people that aren't ASM artists, people that are like friends that watch this video, you did nothing wrong, man. Like, don't. I was ashamed of myself, of where I was. I was ashamed of what I was bringing to the table because I wasn't proud of what I was bringing, and I was really angry about my circumstances because, like, I was tired. I was just really tired, and um, I was I was just so fed up because like it was just a lot. It was a lot to process and a lot of stuff that I didn't process. And so now, I'm not saying I'm I fully processed everything, but now I'm seeing things from a more brighter perspective rather than coming, with like everybody hates me sort of like mentality. And so I'm seeing things from a situation of just like, you know, out of all these out of all these tragedies, if I can speak, out of all these tragedies that I've dealt with, the one thing I was able to do with this is actually teach people how to handle these tragedies. And to me, don't get me wrong, when I heard someone say that like in a card reading, it's like the reason why you deal with all these tragedies is because you're here to teach people how to kind of like deal with that type of stuff. And I'm like, I don't want that responsibility, diggity dog. And so like that also came with the resentment, but it is what it is, man. Like, if that's what I have to do, then that's what I have to do. Um, and so when my friend was dealing with what he was dealing with last night, because he dealt with rejection with somebody, if I hadn't already mentioned at the beginning, um, he dealt with some rejection with somebody, a person he really liked, and I my goal that night last night was to kind of, because I was in a similar headspace, but it wasn't like rejection. It was just more or less that I just kind of felt like rejected by just people in general. My thing was to get us both out of that headspace and just focus on the present moment and having fun. My stomach might talk again. Um, and just kind of have fun and just enjoy the moment for what it was. Hey, stomach. And so last night we hung out in the balcony, had a couple drinks, talked about life, listened to some like 80s music and 90s music as well. Anything alternative. That's our genre. Anything in the alternative, anything in the like 80s, 90s and stuff like that. Um, Stuff like that. We listen to the same music, so it's really fun. But anyways, we sat down, we talked about a lot of stuff, and like you're saying, like I just don't, we don't, being in that headspace doesn't serve anything. It just makes things worse. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you're in that headspace where like you have a whole bunch of things hitting you at once and you don't know, you can't sleep, you can't think, you can't eat, you can't, it's just, there's just so much on you. Take whatever time you need and just sit with it, write it out if you have to, write out what you need to write out. If you want to burn what you wrote, I do that for releasing purposes. Like I'll burn like what's been bothering me and I let it release into the offing. And then I sage everything. Do what you need to do to help move that energy within you, because you won't notice it, but it'll get really stagnant, and you'll notice that people will kind of treat you differently, and you won't even know what it is. Like, you won't know why people are like acting a certain way, but it's because you're holding on to something, and people subconsciously can kind of feel that, and so. Like I said, I hadn't really processed the death of my mom that happened almost a decade ago. Even my sister, and then my cousin that happened, and financial stuff, like family stuff, and so I brought that here, and that wasn't fair to y'all. It wasn't fair to anybody, and so I wanted to get to a point where I fall in love with doing this again. I fall in love with creating again, and I give content to you guys that can help you process what you're going through. Not just like, you know, put you in a space where you're able to sleep and not think about it, but kind of like help you fully understand that what you're going through is just a part of this experience, and whatever you need to do to let that negativity go, do it. Whatever your method is, if it's like go out and drink a whole bunch of water and take a long walk, do it. If it's more ritualistic like what I do with like candles and sage, and do it. If it's going to a spa to get a massage or something to kind of release that tension, do it. Because what will happen is if you don't address this, it will affect you, and you'll end up doing things that you didn't want to do, or you weren't intending on doing, but just you're not in the headspace to deal with people. And so, like I said, because I was in such a negative headspace, I didn't want to deal with people. And when I met my friends, I've been able to kind of like I don't bring my crap to my friends, but just having these people there to kind of like take my mind off of it for a couple of hours and help me process it by just being in the moment helps. And so distancing myself wasn't a good idea. I'm learning that now, that maybe being a complete and total hermit was a terrible idea. And the reason why I was so depressed months ago wasn't because like I hated what I did. It's just because like I felt alone. I felt confused. I felt angry about the circumstances. I felt fed up. I felt tired. I felt everything in between, and I just didn't know how to process it. And so like, what was it, a couple weeks? I got Elden Ring. What was it? I got Elden Ring like 2 weeks ago. Like the amount of rage, the amount of rage I had on that game, and it wasn't coming from like the fact that the game is a fun game, but I was just like, I started to see like I would just get so angry, and I'm like, why am I getting this angry over a game? And again, it's not a game. It wasn't a game that got me angry. It's just I was dealing with a lot, and it was kind of triggering those things. Whatever, like if I wasn't be able to move forward with something, it would trigger it. Like what am I doing? And so like I'm just like, you know what, man, let me process this stuff so that way I can stop coming on this channel with that headspace because it's getting old. And so yeah. But anyways, again, if you are dealing with anything that's painful, if you're dealing with anything that's causing you any sort of heartbreak, if you're dealing with anything that's just affecting you mentally, triggering you, whatever, give yourself that time to process it. Give yourself that time to work through it. Give yourself that time to address it. And do whatever you need to do to release it, because what ends up happening is if you keep it in, it's going to hurt you. And even if you don't intend to, like myself, I didn't intend to hurt anybody. I really didn't intend to hurt anybody. But you end up doing it anyway. And it's not fun. It's sad, and I know a lot of people who I used to kind of talk to have distanced themselves from me, and I don't blame them. Like if I'm in a negative headspace like that, I'll distance myself away from myself if if I was on the outside looking in, I guess. But just understand that my intentions were never bad. I was never. I guess I was never trying to like make it weird or try to be an a-hole. It's just that like I got so caught up in my own life, and I know we all do this. It's cool. But I got so caught up in my own mess that I completely did not look at anything besides the mess that I was dealing with. And so I just want to say I'm sorry to my subscribers if you endured those videos when I was in a negative headspace. I'm sorry to my friends if I distance myself away from you. And if my family members watch this channel, which I don't think they do, they're just like, you do what you do. But if my family members watch this video, I am sorry that I've distanced myself away from you too. Because I didn't really want to deal with any sort of stress or anything that could trigger that stress to where like I said, I just stayed to myself. And that's not healthy. So yeah, if you guys are dealing with anything that's causing you any pain, suffering, just allow yourself to process it. Whatever time you need. If you need a week, you need 2 weeks, you need a month, process it. Don't do what I did and try to like drink it away or smoke it away. It just gets worse, because that's what I was doing. Like, yeah, just give me a whole bottle of vodka, I'd be fine. And so, yeah, actually I haven't really drank, like last night I had like 2 cups of like rum, but I never really like drank in like almost like a month, because I really, after that talk Tyler, after that alcohol poisoning incident that I had like a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, you know what, maybe drinking is not a good outlet for this sort of situation, right? But yeah, anyways, before I go, a little bit of an update for the channel going forward. I'm going to be partnering with a few people. Hey, stomach, not my stomach. I'm going to be partnering with a few people. I know. In regards to merch, beginning of April, and then there'll be another group of individuals that I'm going to possibly be partnering with in regards to branding. So I'm going to make videos kind of like promoting these things in case you want to buy them. Like if don't feel obligated when I make videos, like, because I'll make like, I won't, how about this, I won't make videos, I won't make the promotions in the videos, like the actual like ASMR videos, because I already kind of bombard you guys with like the promos of these, sponsors and stuff, and then you get ads from YouTube. So I don't think it's fair to just hit you with that. But what I will do is I'll make separate videos, kind of like, promoting these like merchandises that I'm going to be kind of selling, kind of partner. I'm going to be making separate videos, kind of promoting these merchandise, the merch. I can't say it correctly. Just promoting the stuff. And if you're interested in purchasing it, that would be awesome. I did some research on these items that I'm going to be promoting, and I like them. One is one is like the strongest hand sanitizer you've ever had, because it not only cleanses your hands, it protects your hands. Like, there was this one guy that put acid in like on like a nail on, and like this like acid on a nail, and he had just put the hand sanitizer on his hand and dried, and he put it would burn the nail, but it didn't burn his hand. It was really cool. Um, that, and it also softens your hands when you put the hand sanitizer on there. There's that. There's this neat product called Zents, which is basically like, it's like these like little scents. It's like essential oils. It's like a little plastic clip in the nose that you pop in your nose. You don't get the oils on your skin, because some people get very allergic to essential oils if it touches their skin. You just pop it in your nose, like a little device, like a little plastic device. You pop in your nose, and you have this like very sweet scent kind of going. You're smelling the sweet scent for like over 12 hours. They say it lasts 12 hours, but it was actually longer for me. Um, I thought that was pretty cool. And there's other things that I'm partnering with other people to um, kind of give you guys, different things to purchase, because like, I really wanted this, silver hair to not only just be for ASMR, but to be a brand, to be something that I don't just, help you guys in regards to like with Reiki, or, insights about life, but just kind of give you cool products that I would purchase as a person, or stuff that I like, or things that I find pretty cool that you might be interested in. And again, if you don't want to purchase any of these things, don't feel obligated to it. It's not an obligation to do anything of the sort. But it's just me kind of introducing cool things to you guys that you may like. So, also, I have a collaboration that I'm going to be doing in April that I'm really excited about. I'm not going to give too much details away, but I'm flying to Miami at the end of April, end of April, beginning of May, and I'm going to be collaborating with the ASM artist who I'm really excited to collaborate with. And also, I've never been to Miami, Florida before, so I'm going to be exploring Miami. Um, and so I'm really excited about that. I love driving in foreign cities at night, because I love to explore a city at night. That's when I really kind of get the feel of the city. So I'm really excited about that. That's happening in a couple weeks. So look out for that. And yeah, guys, I will get back to my routine. I'm probably gonna do, again. I like doing 2 to 3 videos a week. That just kind of helps me kind of keep a flow going. But the content's gonna be different. I might do Reiki. I might do some of this. I might do something else. And if it's not, if it's your cup of tea, cool. If it's not, then it may be one day. But I want to have fun on this channel, like I did eventually. I did in the beginning, before things start to become more. I don't say corporate, but things start to become a little bit more serious. Where I'm not just doing this to for like entertainment purposes. Like, I actually have important people watching me, and I have to keep up a certain appearance. But I want to have fun on this channel, like I originally wanted to. But I'm not going to stray away from what I'm doing. I'm not going to go like do video games or some other stuff. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, this is one of these like talking videos. If you're not into that, like I said, there's a whole bunch of Reiki ASMR videos that I do where I don't talk. But if you did, please like, share, subscribe, comment, please. My stomach likes talking about life. I don't know why it hasn't shut up yet. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. Thank every single one of you for sticking around with me for this long, like for this long, and thank you for the support. Thank you so much to my patron, my patrons, my Patreon patrons, for being the backbone of this channel. Again, you guys are the people who hold this channel together. I'm forever grateful for every single one of you. I will not have a video this week because I took a break, but I will have a video again for you guys next Sunday. Again, thank you guys so much. If I did cause any, pain in the last year or two or whatever, because I was in a negative headspace, if I did cause you to distance yourself away from the channel or make you feel a certain way, I apologize. That was never my intention. But it's just a lesson for me to learn and for me to pass on that it's very important to deal with your stuff, because if you don't, it can affect the people you truly care about. So, have a good one. Take care, and I hope to see you guys again soon.